Hey there, champions. Well, a lot of people attempt to create processes and deploy systems with the hope to scale their company up. But only a few succeed. The rest of them fail. When you ask these guys who failed why and what happened which resulted into a failure, they often say, my people did not support or did not adhere to the new system or the new process that was created. So today in this video, I'm going to be talking about 4 reasons why this may happen, what you should do about it, and the failures that happen when one faces with these challenges. Keep watching. Welcome back, champions. My name is Hardik and I run a management consulting company that is tuned to help your company grow. If you think you've attempted to do a lot of things in the past to grow your company but still are in mess, then you probably need a professional help. And this professional help, whether it can be me or my company or no, to know that, all you need to do is go on to my website, scroll down, click on the relevant area you need help on, answer a few very basic questions, and then you should be able to book a free one-time consultation call directly with me. And on that call, we can discuss whether we are the right people you should partner with to resolve your company's problems. So what to do if your people are not following or adhering to the new systems and processes that you are introducing? Well, there are 4 reasons. We should be discussing all 4 of them and individually also figure out what to do to not have those reasons. First one, natural change resistance. Well, anything that you do new in your business, remember that new means a change. A change means you're going to do something that you've never done in the past, which is why it's new in the first place, right? Now, because you have never done that in the past, you can never be 100% sure on the result. And you're always in doubt, and that causes stress. So a lot of people resist change. Now what you should do about it? Well, whenever you go about introducing change, make sure you have some motivation to give and you also have some penalty if people don't adhere. An appropriate balance of the both is required so that people start adopting to that change. Now the reason why I say challenge is because if you do too much of motivation, then people would do a little bit of change and leave a lot of it unchanged. Why? Because they know that even if they do this much, you're going to be clapping your hands, you're going to be appreciating them, and that becomes too much of good stuff, right? Now, if you have too much of penalty, then that instigates fear. Anyways, a person is uncertain about the new ways of doing things and the result it will generate. Add to that the fear of the penalty. It can be disastrous. So you've got to make sure that you have the balance of enough motivation and enough penalty. Along with this, it is extremely important to have a disciplined review system. Review of the change that you are trying to make. See, understand this. If you don't ask people about it, then people are going to think that it's not your priority. And if it's not your priority, why should it be their priority? Because ultimately they want you to be happy with the way they conduct their job, because you are the one who are going to appraise them on their salary. It's you who are going to take the decisions on the promotion. So if you do disciplined and consistent review on the change, unless that way of doing becomes the second nature of your people, this is not going to happen. Second, knowledge and clarity. Now, a lot of times people announce the change. They deploy a new software. They deploy a new format. But the problem is people remember it on day 1. On day 2, they start forgetting. On day 3, they forget a little more. Day 4, they have forgotten why you did that, or they have forgotten how to do it. And a lot of times all of us would like to do business instead of manage the change with the new stuff. So there are doubts, questions, etc. And the knowledge that was given to the people for the new format, for the new software, kind of erodes over a period of time. So it's important to give them consistent knowledge about what that change is all about and keep reminding them of the objective, which is why this change is important, and if this is not done, how it impacts your life. And if this is done, how it positively impacts your life. This communication has to be over communication. It's like how the Prime Minister of India, when he did his first campaign, he said, "Achhe din aane wale hain," which means good days are going to come. And he said it so many times that we all started believing good days are going to come. That's the power of over communication. Third, willingness. Well, willingness can be divided into two. One, not willing to do it because it's simply my habit to not be willing to do things which are tough, to do things which are easy, which I know, and not change and not improve. That is habit. If people have bad habit, you got to be able to take a decision and set an example for the rest of them. These people who have bad habits, if are continuing in your system, in your organization, that is also setting example for the rest of them. The rest of them will say, okay, if he's not doing it and there is nothing that is done about it, why should I take extra efforts to do it? And if a majority of the people decide to follow them, you can't do anything because you can't take decisions on all of them, right? So the moment you figure out a person who has a bad habit of not adhering to the change, take a decision and move on. The second aspect in which willingness can be divided is strategic. Now here the person knows how to do it, but the person is has strategic reasons why he is not doing it. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are a wholesaler and you have salespeople who are supplying your products to the retailers, okay, or distributors. Now, if this person is tasked to collect money, chances are he will not, simply because he does not know how to sell the product to the retailer. All that he's doing is something that I call it box pushing, which is going to your retailer and telling your retailer, you keep this material, give me the money when you are able to sell it. Now, all that is happening is the inventory moving from your warehouse to the warehouse of your retailer. There is no sales that is happening. So until he sells it, you're not going to recover the money. And your sales guy is not going to be willing to ask for the collections. Even if he knows it, even if he knows that that's the objective, blah, blah, etc. He's not going to ask for it. Why? Because strategically, if he asks for money, the retailer is not going to allow him to let the box move into his warehouse, right? And that is equal to sales. So if you have something like this, a strategic reason that makes a person not willing to adhere to the change, then you got to work on the strategy aspect. So if I was you in a given example, what I would have done, I would have said that I don't want to concentrate on sales. Your incentives is going to be on collections. Now, is this a bold decision? Yes, of course. But that will automatically change the person's focus. Now, whether the box is being pushed or no, does not matter. What matters is he gets the money in. Now, if this sounds impractical to you, you could also do net sales. Net sales means if you do sale of 1 lakh rupees and if you collect 50,000 rupees, then net you've done only 50,000 rupees worth of sales. If I start calculating in this way and then incentivize on that, that should work. The fourth reason is skill. See, there are going to be people who are going to be willing to do it. They want to go on the software, but they don't know how to operate. They're not very savvy with the computer systems or with the tablet that you assign to them. They want to fill up the forms, but they find it difficult to read and understand the English written on the form, which is why they are not able to do it. Well, all of these people, you obviously have to upskill them. But what is more important than upskilling is the second part, which is called reinforcement. I'm an extremely great believer that training alone does not help. And I can prove this to you. A lot of you who are watching this video have seen several of my previous videos. And if you ask yourself how much of that did you implement, in spite of you knowing that that's important to implement, well, you will have your answer. That happens because I'm just training. Training gives information to you. It does not hold your hand and make you do it. So reinforcement is actually holding the person's hand and making him do what is required to be done. So all you need to do is train and then piggyback that with reinforcement to solve the skill related issue. Another aspect that you got to remember is not everybody is trainable. If you suddenly find that your people are not trainable at all, then in those cases you got to slowly start replacing them. And this time when you replace, make sure you test the skills so you don't end up with the same problem again. Now that you've understood all the 4 reasons why people would not end up doing the change, let us understand where people get this wrong. So I have 3 things for you there. The first one is inability to identify the cause of failure. Now look, if you don't identify the right cause of failure, most of the people are going to be ending up doing 2 things. Number 1, my people are not doing the change that I have implemented, the new software or the new format or the new ways of doing things. Let me do one thing. Let me call a corporate trainer and the corporate trainer will give them corporate training. Or let me call somebody who's a motivational speaker and the motivational speaker is going to say something. Well, you haven't identified the reason. Of all you know, they don't need training, they don't need motivation, they just did not have the skill. Of all you know, they had the skill too, but they were strategically not willing to do what you were. How is a corporate trainer going to help that? Whether the person trains on the system or motivates the person, it's not going to work. The second thing that people end up doing is, you know what, my people are not adhering to the new change that I'm introducing. So let me do one thing. Let me get a very well-toned supervisor, somebody who's a brilliant guy in my head. I will get him there and he will police and make people do that. It has never worked in the past. It will never work unless that is what is required. So if you don't have the knowledge of what are the causes for the problem, you can't solve it. So don't go with solutions that look easy. Applying the solution may be easy, but if that solution is not resolving the cause, then it's of no use anyways. Second thing. Now this is related somewhat to the first thing, People end up dropping the ball. They say, forget the system, forget the new forms, forget the new ways of doing things. Let's go back to the older ways. Now this people do because people choose to do easy things. Now imagine, change is what we are talking about. A change is something that all of us resist because because change brings uncertainty. None of us like it. So if you are going to resist finding the solution, you are doing the exact same mistake that your people are doing. They are not adhering to the change. You are not willing to do the difficult task of figuring out the causes and solving it. So don't drop the ball simply because it's not happening. I'll give you another example. If you have a child and your child goes in the school and then you realize that his mathematics is not great, what do? Do you drop him off the school? No. You try and find out what is not right. Maybe he does not know the tables. Maybe he does not know algorithms. Maybe he's getting confused when the tables go beyond 10, 11, 12. That's where the confusion is. And then what do? You skill him up. You make him practice every single day. You review every multiplication sum that he's doing and therefore equip him to make sure that he becomes good at mathematics. And if that requires professional help, you take that also, coaching classes, right? But you don't let your ward, your child, drop off the school simply because you realized something that he does not know. In the same way, when you put systems, the system will make you realize the loopholes that are there in your company. People who are great performers, you think, will suddenly come out as non-performers and they would not want to adhere to the system. These things will come up to the surface because you've put the system. And it's important that we take care of these things because that's what system is supposed to do. So don't drop the ball because on the first instance or second instance, people did not adhere to the system. The third one is inability to rationalize the benefits of the efforts required to make the change happen. See, what happens is you must be thinking by now that Hardik, you are talking about so many things that you need to do, right? You need to train your staff if that's the case. You need to figure out motivation, figure out penalties, take a call on things that where people, don't have the right attitude towards making the change. Well, if I end up doing all of these things, then when am I going to do what I need to do to run my business? Well, I have an answer to that. First things, if you have to be involved in doing transactional activities to run your business, well, you anyways have a problem there. You don't have to do any transactional activity to run your business. If you're doing that, that means there is a lack of process for that activity. So you shouldn't be involved in that in the first place. Second, this happens is because you are not able to rationalize that where you need to put your time. If you had a choice to coach a person, to figure out the causes, train a person versus solving the need of that one client so that he gives you the sale. Now, when you look at both of this, it sounds like, oh, you know what? If I work with this client or this prospect, I will get the money today. Yes, you're right. But that is a short-term benefit. You will win one client. But if you coach the person, get the system in order, even if that takes 2, 3, 4 months, the end result of that is going to be you will never have to get involved in the transaction. So whenever you introduce a system in your company, write down the benefits of introducing that system before you start exercising or onboarding people on that system. And then every time you face a challenge or every time you are required to put efforts to implement that system, look at the benefits. This will make sure that you remember why you started this change exercise in the first place. And I can guarantee you 99% of times the benefits of making sure that the new change take effects will completely outdo the transactional time that you're required. You'll never ever discount a change exercise for a transactional exercise. I hope you're going to take this into implementation, and if you need professional help, you know what the drill is. So share this video with all your friends and colleagues who are either in the change, wanting to do a change, but fearing the change or failing in the change. They will all bless you for this. If you like this video, do it a big fat thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed to this channel, my dear friend, what are you doing? It's a very simple procedure, and all good things don't come for free, but this one is. So show your love to the subscribe button, hit it, break it into 2, 3, 4, I don't care. Hit the bell icon so that you're always notified every time I answer a business challenge to help your business grow. So until we meet next time, keep learning, keep implementing, take change in your stride and win all the time. All you lovely people, keep rocking.